If you just tuned in to Roller Jam, you missed the Florida Sundogs advance to their first ever mega match. Now the Dogs' leading clean ways will be put to the test by the WSL's leaders of the pack. Enforcer Captain Mark D'Amato is dying to get a shot at Florida's new leader.
They got Bill Barker on their team now. This guy is a dream come true for me. He doesn't fight back. He's dealing with 215 pounds of hustle and muscle.
D'Amato is more like 215 pounds of flab and blab.
I have a move for him tonight that nobody has ever seen.
Now the Sundogs versus the Enforcers. Are you ready to mega match? We're back, everyone, and coming up now, the mega match. It will be the Florida Sundogs, just victorious over the Nevada Hot Dice, taking on the defending leaders of the pack, the New York Enforcers. And Hawk, there's no question, Bill Barker showed his worth to the Florida Sundogs. His blocking was all over the track, and you could just see the Sundogs gaining strength from the way Barker was handling the Hot Dice.
Well, Bill Barker's a physical guy, but now he's going against Mark D'Amato and the New York Enforcers. And Mark D'Amato, as we saw earlier, has promised something unbelievable. And that guy, I don't want him promising something unbelievable against me. So I don't know what Bill Barker, what's going through his mind right now.
He is as diabolical as they come. And the question is, can Bill Barker stay true to form? Can he, in fact, not fight back against the diabolical Mark D'Amato and certainly Big Tim Washington?
I was going to say, let's not forget about Tim Washington. You know, there's 280 pounds of additional meat looking at Bill Barker.
Now remember, coming up in the first period, it will be the women, and this will be a renewal of a tremendous rivalry here in the WSL. We're talking about Heather Gunnan, the Pan American gold medal winner from the New York Enforcers, against the Guinness Book of World Record holder Debbie Rice, the fastest woman in the WSL on skates. And now, as the New York Enforcers await their entrance, let's go trackside to Tom Chasson.
Introducing the team that believe rules are meant to be broken and broken and broken, the New York Enforcers!
Hawk, I don't think there can be any question about it. The New York Enforcers have got to be licking their chops. One, the Florida Sundogs just coming off a very hard-fought win over the Hot Dice. And two, the Sundogs say they are not going to fight back.
Well, and the Sundogs against the Hot Dice had nothing like a good shot of these two, Mark D'Amato and Tim Washington. And there's another one, Brian Gamble. These guys are physical, they're intimidating, and the Hot Dice gave them a little bit to kind of get them warmed up. We'll see how these Enforcers take on these Sundogs who, I don't know if they can kind of muscle up in the second game.
It'll be very interesting. Now the starting lineup for the Florida Sundogs will be Captain Denise Loden, Andrea Franklin, Gina Lombardo, the speedster Debbie Rice, and Suzanne Chalene. For the Enforcers, Shelley Rossell, who's really come into her own. Janet Abraham, one of the best blockers in the league. The speedster Heather Gunnan, April Tootle, and Karen Magnuson round out the starting five for the New York Enforcers. And there you see the teams on the starting line. This is the only time at the beginning of each period the Jammers break right out in front. And for the Enforcers, it is Shelley Rossell and Gina Lombardo. For the Sundogs, and they both go down. And now this is Heather Gunnan, the speedster. 3 gold medals in the Pan American Games. Gunnan looking back, but right now, as Lombardo begins to close on her, Heather Gunnan, and now it's Big Denise Loden. And Loden nails Gunnan with an elbow, and now they are neck and neck. I beg your pardon, it is Debbie Rice. This is the two speedsters, Heather Gunnan and Debbie Rice. Sometimes Hawk with that long hair, it's tough to tell the numbers.
Well, we haven't had a matchup yet between these two that didn't materialize, with Debbie Rice and Heather Gunnan ending up in a fist fight. And we are a minute into this first jam of this first period, and we already saw them getting into it.
And a smart move by Debbie Rice. She saw Gunnan go down and looked around, saw Gunnan getting back up, and decided to play it safe and cut off the jam. Alert play by Debbie Rice. Picked up one, and now jam number 2. This time the Jammers, remember, start at the back of the pack. And look at Denise Loden showing her presence. A big elbow by the captain, and she is winding it up again. That's Edie Bowman, and Bowman meets the big elbow of Denise Loden. Well, now Andrea Franklin, a leg whip from Denise Loden and Andrea Franklin springs free Kathy Evangelo for the Florida Sundogs, who lead this one by a score of 1-0.
Well, we talked about Denise Loden coming into tonight's first part of the mega match as having been injury plagued lately. She's setting a precedent here early with physical play already. I don't know how long that can hold up against Janet Abraham and the Sisters of Suffering.
Look at a great move by Denise Loden, takes down Janet Abraham and a whole host of New York enforcers. And Kathy Evangelo looks like she caught her leg underneath her.
And here you see Denise Loden going right into the pit of the Sisters of Suffering, and Janet Abraham and I believe Shelley Russell go down. There's Kathy Evangelo showing injury.
I'll tell you, the Sundogs already tired from the first game, can ill afford an injury, but we'll be back with more great WSL action right after this.
Welcome back, everyone, to Roller Jam Arena. And Hawk, a bit of a surprise so far in this one.
Well, the Sundogs off to a quick start, but let's see if they can continue that going into the end of the first period.
And there you see the score. The Florida Sundogs lead the New York Enforcers by a score of 3-0. The pack formed, and we are underway with another jam. And Hawk, surprisingly, the Enforcers have not been near as physical as I would have thought.
Well, the Sisters of Suffering, led by Janet Abraham, last time spent a little bit more time on their rear ends than they anticipated coming into the mega match.
Karen Magnuson now out jamming for the Enforcers. And here comes Andrea Franklin for the Florida Sundogs. Andrea Franklin, the former Las Vegas showgirl. Big elbow to Karen Magnuson. Magnuson and Franklin both doing a good job of keeping their center of balance, both staying on their feet.
And Karen Magnuson, as we remember, always talks about getting a new tattoo and or a new piercing after each kill. I wonder if she's going to need another one after that, Ken.
Big elbow from Magnuson, and now she closes in on the pack. And that's Suzanne Chalene now back trying to block along with Gina Lombardo, and a great job right there. Great presence shown by Karen Magnuson where she was on the track, went inside, looked at the pack, and then went up and outside. Karen Magnuson showing a lot of smart thinking on her skates, although you couldn't tell it by the men enforcers. But there you see the big elbow that set Andrea Franklin down and allowed Karen Magnuson to reach the pack unimpeded, and a good job she did.
Get online at www.rollerjam.com. Get the latest info on your favorite team. Email players and fans, even buy your favorite Jam merchandise, all with the click of a mouse. Get online and get to www.rollerjam.com.
Hawk, you did a great job of giving that internet address on. I'm proud of you, bud.
Well, thank you, my friend.
And we are back. The pack is formed. The referees blow their whistle. Denise Loden out blocking right at the front of the pack, keeping a sharp eye out, ready to enforce her jammers. And now Heather Gunnan comes out, receiving a big whip from Shelley Russell. This is Heather Gunnan. Remember, 3 gold medals in the Pan Am Games. As fast as they are now coming up, this is Kara Friedman. And Hawk, I don't know that Friedman has the speed to stay with Gunnan.
Well, not only that, but I wanted to make a comment about when Heather Gunnan went past Denise Loden. She took a big swing at her almost, Ken. She didn't connect, but this could get ugly if that kind of behavior keeps up.
Kara Friedman gets a double elbow from Gunnan and Magnuson, and now they are all alone, closing in on the pack. A golden opportunity right here as big Janet Abraham separates 2 of the Sundogs. Magnuson goes through, puts points on the board, and cuts off the jam. As you have come to know, that's how you cut off a jam. There's Kara Friedman taking the double elbow. Remember, anytime a lead jammer after 30 seconds of a jam can cut it off by putting her hands on her waist, and Magnuson did just that.
And Karen Magnuson, part of the Sister of Suffering, you got a great shot right there of Janet Abraham paving the way for her Sister of Suffering to score points. Great job of the Sisters of Suffering.
And it is a big, big jam, 8-3 New York Enforcers. Heather Gunnan coming out along with Debbie Rice, the 2 faster perhaps skaters in all the World Skating League. And there's a good look as they go low on the curves and then come high on the straightaways. And a big elbow from Debbie Rice, playing very physical, puts Heather Gunnan down as the Sundogs are down 8-3. A great opportunity as Florida can ill afford to let the Enforcers get too big a lead. They've already played 1 game. Kathleen Evangelo reaching back, a whip to Rice, and now 2 more by her teammates. Denise Loden sends April Tootle into the boards, and Debbie Rice picking up some points, now closing in on Linda Leisure Denise Loden puts Leisure down. Oh, great teamwork here. Denise Loden leading the way for Debbie Rice.
Well, Denise Loden right here, we talk a lot about the physical plays of the Sisters of Suffering. Denise Loden was a one-person wrecking crew. As you see, the enforcers kind of clean up at the end there. Not before the Sundogs scored some points with Denise Loden paving the way.
Mark D'Amato, you're sitting here with a smile on your face. You love playing Florida, don't you?
Listen, Broadway, believe me when I say I never step on this track without doing my homework. I have studied him. I know his every weakness. Barker, I got one thing to say to you. You come at me with all you got, and I guarantee you it will not be enough.
Well, Mark D'Amato, never at a loss for words, issuing a very strong challenge to Bill Barker. Well, we'll get to see if Bill Barker's up to the challenge coming up in the next period. It could get really ugly, Ken.
But now, right now, this is Shelly Rossell. The enforcers have really emerged almost as a two-jam women team, and Shelly Rossell and Heather Gunnan. Rossell has a jam. She's a bit rested, as you can tell, as she is flying around the track. Doesn't have a lot of time left on the jam clock. You see it right there, 33 seconds left. The enforcers are leading at 8-6. Here comes Shelly Rossell on the pack. Denise Loden and Andrea Franklin back. Nice job of blocking right there by Andrea Franklin and Denise Loden. Now Franklin may try and pit her against the rail. Does so. Rossell unable to get by it. Denise Loden, the second elbow, puts Shelly Rossell down under 15 seconds. But here comes Heather Gunnan finally springing free. Denise Loden and Franklin calling up Heather Gunnan. No love lost there. As we're under 10 seconds. Oh, and Loden puts her down, and now she's calling her back. But we'll run out of time. Great job of tandem blocking by Andrea Franklin and Denise Loden.
And I tell you, Ken, sometimes I wonder when you watch Janet Abraham, she's very good, but she's not aggressive enough at the back of the pack.
We'll be back with more WSL action, the Sundogs and the Enforcers, right after this. It's the New York Enforcers 8, the Florida Sundogs 6, and Hawk the men are on the track.
Well, now we get to see the five-borough lineout who have set their sights on Bill Barker.
And while we're away, some handiwork on the part of Mark D'Amato, Tim Washington, and the New York Enforcers welcoming Bill Barker, if you will, to the Florida Sundogs. And Hawk, remember, D'Amato said he has something special in store for Bill Barker.
Well, he also said he felt sorry for these Sundogs because they had to play clean. I think we refer to them as low-hanging fruit. Well, I don't think he feels sorry for the Sundogs.
We will find out. And starting for those Florida Sundogs, Jonathan Russell, the newly acquired Bill Barker, David Gleddy, Sean Marshall, and Sam Martin. For the New York Enforcers, Captain Mark D'Amato, Brian Gamble, Tim Washington, J.R. Widener, and John the Skull Morrissey. This should prove to be very interesting. I really don't know, Hawk, if the Sundogs could stay with the New York Enforcers unless they step up their physical game. And right off the bat for the Sundogs, breaking out almost as always, this is Sam the Flame Martin and Jonathan Russell. I beg your pardon, it was Russell and J.R. Widener. Russell goes down. J.R. Widener now all alone. None of the Sundogs have been able to break up. Now you see Bill Barker right at the back waiting for J.R. Widener. Widener trying to use his speed to get by him. So far, no luck. Bill Barker, that's why he was brought to these Sundogs. We saw it in the first game, but look at Mark D'Amato laying in wait and absolutely Hawk leveled Bill Barker.
Well, we talked about the physical play of Bill Barker, a very large, muscular young man. Well, he had a game earlier where he wasn't contested physically. Well, if he was prepared for that here, he's not going to get it. As you see Jonathan Russell take a shot to the head from J.R. Widener, but watch Mark D'Amato in the corner of your screen with a shot to the chest. Wow, I tell you, Bill Barker, if he gets up from that just by getting up, he's a very strong young man. Wow.
No question, Mark D'Amato had that forearm cocked, and it is 9-7. A nice jam on the part of J.R. Widener, 9-7 Enforcers. This is a mega match. Remember, the Enforcers are two-time defenders, leaders of the pack. They're trying for their third straight mega match. And this is J.R. Widener breaking out for the New York Enforcers, along with Tom Smith for the Florida Sundogs. Widener, his second straight jam. He had a very successful jam minutes ago. And now Tom Smith puts perhaps a little tired Widener down. Back there is Mark D'Amato and Big Tim Washington with some greeting committee. He gets by one. Oh, great job by Smith. Gets by them both. Remember, once he passes a jammer, A blocker, great move going under D'Amato. Remember, once you pass the blocker, the point stays on the board. They don't come off. What a move.
Ken, I gotta tell you, I just can't contain my enthusiasm about Tom Smith. You remember those cartoons when you were a kid about the small minnow, like getting away from the big shark? Well, Tom Smith was the most unbelievable one-man wrecking crew of the Enforcers. You see him right here even. He starts out with a little physical, but he goes around. That was Mark D'Amato first. Then you see Tim Washington goes over him. He goes around Brian Gamble, number 19. And then finally, Morrissey the Skull. Unbelievable. Tom Smith was with an unbelievable show of finesse, strength, heads-up play, totally dominated the New York Enforcers. That was Tom Smith's jam.
You've got to wonder if Tom Smith has a little extra adrenaline going as the Sundogs take the lead 10-9. Smith is from the state of New York, the city Syracuse. Tom Smith 5'60", 140. Now here's Sam Martin and John the Skull Morrissey out. Sam the Flame Martin for the Sundogs. Goes down, got a little tangled up. Morrissey now all alone, closing on the pack. The Enforcers did not like the trail, and right now they are doing just that, trailing the Sundogs.
Well, John Morrissey, before the game tonight, Ken, said that he really hates people calling him mean names. He says he's a really nice guy.
Right, and I'm the President of the United States.
Well, Mr. President, let me tell you something.
Bill Barker now hammering away at John the Skull Morrissey. Barker doing a great job. Oh, and there again, almost a replay. Mark D'Amato nailed him with a big forearm, and down goes Barker.
Well, I hope you know, Bill Barker, this is the second time he's been on the receiving end of a bait and switch, so to speak. Kind of a lost leader from some of my marketing classes in college. You see him, one or the other, right here, it's number 13, John Morrissey. Actually, that's him knocking down Sam Martin, but here, you see Bill Barker with our John Morrissey setting him up, and then Mark D'Amato with not even a cheap shot, it's legal, takes him down.
We're all tied at 10. Very good point, Hawk. The forearm was below the neck, perfectly legal in the World Skating League. Very physical. And now Tim Washington gives the big whip to Dan Gavani as Gavani is loose for the Enforcers. Gavani trying to pick up speed, and he's being trailed by Sam the Flame Martin.
Well, Dan Gavani, he also talked to him before the game, and he said, quit calling me the ugliest skater in the World Skating League. He yelled at me, Ken. These guys are starting to pick on me.
And now Gavani and Fred Eichhorn double-team Martin.
But he is the ugliest skater. Look at him.
Bill Barker nails them both. Barker obviously doing a yeoman's job of blocking here. This is Eichhorn and Morrissey. What a job of blocking by Bill Barker, making that trade for Little Richard look very good. And again, takes two of the Enforcers down and a third, and still goes after. He's got an elbow lift for Tim Washington. Bill Barker absolutely cleaning house. No points. What a job by Barker.
Well, and he did this coming right off of those two screamer moves by Tim Washington, or by Mark D'Amato. And it doesn't take long for Mark D'Amato to actually pick up where he left off as him and Bill Barker go at it in the infield.
You guys get rolling. Get rolling.
Mark D'Amato, referee Sean Corbin telling the pack to get rolling, not handing out any penalties. But, you know, there could be the same thing going for Barker as Tom Smith, because Bill Barker also from New York, Rochester, New York, 6 feet 205, knowing his home state fans are probably watching this one skating against his home state Enforcers.
Well, and you saw Bill Barker right there getting physical with all the Enforcers. I tell you, the Enforcers aren't used to people fighting back, and Bill Barker said before the game he wasn't going to, but the Enforcers seem to be getting a little bit under the skin of Bill Barker. So far it's been legal. We'll see if he can keep his cool.
Well, I will say he hasn't fought back, but he's been as physical as any player on the team, but we're still all tied up. It is 10 apiece. The Florida Sundogs and New York Enforcers in this mega match. Remember, the Enforcers, two-time defending leaders of the pack. Now D'Amato is at the front of the pack, and here's Hawk, your favorite skater. Dan Gavani springs loose.
Well, how can they not say he's the ugliest skater in the World Skating League? I tell you what, I'm going to keep saying that. I don't care what he says.
And I am not going to get anywhere near that line, Hawk. If you want to, be my guest, my friend. And now coming up for the Sundogs is Jonathan Russell chasing after Dan Gavani. Gavani tees up the elbow, doesn't have any effect on Russell. Russell this time goes out and over the rail. Now Gavani closing in, and there's Bill Barker back to meet him. Barker again to look at Tim Washington directing traffic, trying to tell Schiavone to take the high road, that he'll take care of Barker.
Well, and I don't believe Jonathan Russell.
Oh my God! Look at Mark D'Amato. That may have been the move. That may have been the secret move. A back body drop from D'Amato on Bill Barker. D'Amato goes all the way out into the crowd.
And unbelievable. He was talking about a secret weapon. We saw the screamer twice as Mark D'Amato hups and hollers for the crowd. Here's an earlier shot of Jonathan Russell going out of the track. But this right here is, oh my gosh, that is Mark D'Amato's secret weapon. I don't know if he has a name for it. I guess it's just called the secret weapon.
But going back to my wrestling days, Hawk, that's a classroom back body drop. Unbelievable. Mark D'Amato, his secret weapon unveiled. We'll be back with more right after this.
Get online at www.rollerjam.com. Get the latest info on your favorite team. Email players and fans, even buy your favorite Jam merchandise, all with the click of a mouse. Get online and get to www.rollerjam.com.
It's the New York Enforcers 13, the Florida Sundogs 10, and it's halftime. Welcome back, everyone, to Roller Jam Arena. I'm Ken Resnick, along with my broadcast partner, Lee the Hawk Rehrman. And certainly on the women's side, the story was the domination of the New York Enforcers, Karen Magnuson and Heather Gunnan. But without a doubt, the big story of that first half was Mark D'Amato, and whatever that was, he put on Bill Barker. And I'll tell you what, you got to give D'Amato credit. He does what he says.
Well, Bill Barker's a big physical guy. There you see a shot from Mark D'Amato into the chest of Bill Barker. But what we're talking about was whatever that is. He called, before the show, he said he promised something unbelievable. And I think Bill Barker got firsthand what unbelievable means. And I'm wondering what the heck he calls that thing.
You know, I'll tell you, it was interesting in the first highlight, Hawk, when Barker flattened, or rather I should say when D'Amato flattened Barker, D'Amato also went down, and I think D'Amato said, I got to pull something out of my bag of tricks, and boy, he certainly did that, because in that move, whatever it was, Barker had no chance.
Well, I think D'Amato's angry all the time. I think Bill Barker just happened to be on the receiving end of what he promised would be unbelievable, and it was.
I'll tell you what, Broadway Danny Wolf is standing by trackside with Mark D'Amato, and Danny, I don't envy you talking to Mark D'Amato, but let's see if you can find out what that move was.
Mark D'Amato? What the heck was that move?
You people have just witnessed the debut of the Eliminator. It has been designed and fashioned and is a tribute to the late, great Ralphie Valadares. And I will continue to use this move against the Sundogs and any other team that tries to challenge me. I am the most dangerous man on skates.
Real quickly, Mark, come here. What are you talking about?
New York, don't forget it.
Well, I guarantee it certainly did eliminate Bill Barker on that jam, but we've talked about what a great addition he is to the Sundogs. Let's take an up-close look and meet Bill Barker.
With the Florida Sundogs burning out of control, the man brought in to put out the flames was volunteer fireman Bill Barker. Barker's quiet living and clean skating were at odds with his former teammates on the Nevada Hot Dice.
I kind of knew that I'd never fit in with the hot dice when every morning I'd be getting up to go work out and they'd be just getting in from partying all night.
Then came the blockbuster trade that sent Richard Brown to the dice and brought Bill Barker to Florida. He joins the Sundogs as one of the premier blockers in the World Skating League, and he's determined to get Florida back on track. A stellar athlete, Bill Barker won 9 varsity letters and earned All-American honors as a wrestler at Brockport State. With his athletic ability and his moral character, it's no wonder that Barker has earned the nickname Captain America.
Certainly can't take fault with Captain America, a perfect name for Bill Barker, and he will need those superpowers in the second half with the Enforcers leading at 13-10. We'll be right back. It's 13-10 New York Enforcers, and Hawk, the Sundog women have some work to do.
Well, if the Sisters of Suffering keep up this physical play, I tell you what, they're going to return as leaders of the pack.
And the women are back on the track as we start the third period. Coming back from the half, it's been all we've expected in a mega match and more. And now coming right out This is Linda Leisure for the New York Enforcers. Kathy Evangelo and Andrea Franklin for the Sundogs. Leisure and Franklin going at it. Evangelo breaks free.
And Kathy Evangelo holding her midsection there. If you remember earlier, actually in the first game of the Mega Match, she took a shot to the midsection, and I think she also caught one in the first period, Ken.
You know, some great strategy right now. Andrea Franklin, even though she's wearing a Jammer's helmet, almost acting as a blocker to keep Linda Leisure out of it. Karen Magnuson now waiting for Kathy Evangelo, and she sends her into the railing. Now here comes Andrea Franklin to take on Karen Magnuson. Franklin does a good job of staying on her feet. Denise Loden dropped back to occupy Karen Magnuson, but she still is able to get the elbow. Now Franklin setting up to whip Evangelo into Leisure, and Karen Magnuson does a good job of preventing either jammer from going by so far. Now they kind of sneak by Janet Abraham, who is back to block. A good period for the Sundogs. Great period, great work by Andrea Franklin. And now, let's go down to our colleague, Danny Wolf.
Bill Barker, you experienced the Eliminator. How did it feel?
Well, let me tell you something. Big number 17 stood in my way. I didn't see it coming, but that will never happen to me again.
Never?
Never.
It is 14-13 Sundogs as we are underway with another jam, and certainly the interchangeable parts, the teamwork of the Sundogs coming to the top. Gina Lombardo out for the Sundogs, and that is Edie Bowman for the New York Enforcers. Again, Gina Lombardo comes around, number 30. We'll check and see what she's wearing. 38 in this uniform. Gina Lombardo coming around for the Sundogs. 30 seconds coming up on the jam clock. Remember, the WSL, after the first 30 seconds, a jammer can cut off, the lead jammer can cut it off. Now, Lombardo trying to go around Janet Abraham. No success whatsoever as down goes big Janet Abraham.
Well, Janet Abraham, like I said earlier in the game, seems to not be very aggressive until the skaters come to her. I think that she might have took it a little more to Gina Lombardo right there, as her and Karen Magnuson seem to be having their way. The two sisters of suffering are playing ping pong with Gina Lombardo.
Gina Lombardo doing a good job, and now that insult to injury, the old Texas Bulldog, Janet Abraham, takes down Gina Lombardo. Karen Magnuson standing above her. I don't know why the referees, now he finally orders the enforcer's way, but you got to give a lot of credit to the hard showing by Gina Lombardo. Goes down and got right back up.
Well, Janet Abraham and all the Sisters of Suffering have SOS on their, tattooed on their forearm, or on their biceps there. Right there you see some of the kids, Sisters of Sin. I don't know if some of the parents out there will like that sign.
I don't know, Sisters of Sin, I'd buy that name as well as Sisters of Suffering.
Well, you're a brother of sin, pal, so you watch it.
14-13 Sundogs. Sundogs, remember, played the earlier match if you just joined us, defeating the Nevada High Rollers. And now Denise Loden out with a jammer helmet, as is Debbie Rice. The physical and the speedster. This is Shelley Rossell out, along with Heather Gunnan. Boy, this is a double marquee matchup right now. Loden and Rice, Gunnan and Rossell. The Sundogs are up by one. All four jammers out, 30 seconds to go, and they're coming up on the pack. Denise Loden, a double reverse whip, spins Debbie Rice around. The double tomahawk, Denise Loden followed by a double whip. Great move by Loden and Rice. We talked so much about the teamwork. You see Heather got a little frustrated. Double whip and a double tomahawk. What a jam hawk by Denise Loden.
Well, I'll tell you, not only did they score the points, but they left a couple of the Sisters of Suffering down as Debbie Rice and Heather Gunnan. I don't know how many times we have to call them, Ken.
And now let's go down on the infield to Danny Wolf.
Lindsey Francis, you're still listed as day-to-day. Denise Loden is skating with an injury. How do you sum it up?
I wish there was something I can do about it. I mean, we both got knee injuries. Those are temperamental things. I know what she's going through right now. I feel like I need to be out there for my team, but I know they can pull together and get through this.
Can't wait to get you back, Lindsey.
I want to be out there.
I'll tell you what, Hawk, I understand the rules, but with all the physical play, giving Debbie Rice a one-jam penalty for nothing more than throwing her helmet, sometimes the referees need to remember it's the skaters that play the game, not the referees. But now breaking out as the Sundogs are short-handed, this is Shelley Rossell. Of course, it's a little tough with her speedster, Debbie Rice, in the penalty box, but Karen Friedman breaking out at Cooper City, Florida, 5 feet 110 for the Sundogs. And Shelley Rossell grabs a handful of hair, and down goes Karen Friedman.
And Karen Friedman, a jam in the first period, had her helmet off. Now she goes down by Shelley Rossell pulling her hair down to the track. she's having a tough go of it, Ken.
And remember, Kara Freeman is filling in for one of the injured Sundogs, Megan, help me out again.
Megan Mobley.
Megan Mobley.
She's so cute, she leaves you speechless. I don't blame you.
Well, she's been out for so long. Nice jab by Shelley Rossell. I forgot her name. There you see the hair pull.
And I tell you, we just talked about Kara Freeman having a rough go of it. It's getting pretty physical out there, Ken. I think the Sisters of Suffering are taking some advantage. That's number 35, Suzanne Shalene, wife of Posse Shalene, going down. As you get a good look at Shelley Rossell. They're aggressive, and they seem to be getting pretty angry making this a physical game, Ken.
And again, my apologies if she's watching the Megan Mobley. I guess it's true what they say, out of sight, out of mind. I just couldn't get your last name, Megan. I'm sorry. Now, this is coming out for the New York Enforcers. It looks like, is it Heather Gunnan? Heather Gunnan and Debbie Rice. Now remember, Debbie Rice served the one jab penalty. She should be pretty fresh, but these are the two speedsters. Pan American Games gold medal winning Heather Gunnan, Guinness Book of World Records for Debbie Rice as they come around the curve.
Well, Ken, we were talking about them all the way at the beginning of this season, but they used to be roommates, like to fight a lot, as Heather Gunnan breaks away, scores the points, and starts to celebrate.
What a great move by Heather Gunnan. Saw the pad, locked up, and just shoved Debbie Rice right into the back of the pack, and went by the whole pack, celebrated, and cut it off. And now it's all broken loose once again. We wondered how long it would be between the Sundogs and the Enforcers, and of course Denise Loden right there in the thick of things. The referee's doing a good job of getting order restored, but hockey knew sooner or later it was going to break.
Well, and of course Janet Abraham had something to do with that early pile-up that allowed Heather Gunnan to break free and score, and of course she had a little bit to do with that melee, as always.
20-17 Enforcers as the third period winds down, but remember the jam clock continues. Right now it's Gunnan and Rice once again. These are the big speedsters. And right there, the clock runs out on the period. It ends. Karen Magnuson and Denise Loden now going at it. The Enforcers are up 20-17. Oh, Loden goes right after Magnuson, and the referees smartly get in the way and break them up. But boy, I'll tell you what, Hawk, this fourth and final period should prove to be very, very interesting. We'll be back with that period right after this. We're back at Roller Jam Arena, everyone, and hockey Enforcers still leading by 3.
Well, it's a small lead, but we all know the Enforcers have a knack of putting it together when it matters. Let's see what happens in the final period right now.
And the men are on the track as we start the fourth and final period. The Enforcers up by 3. Sam Martin breaks right out for the Sundogs, and this is Dan Giovanni, and I'll check the other number. It is Fred Eichhorn, number 12 for the New York Enforcers. The Flame, of course, number 10 in orange and yellow, sends down Eichhorn, and now it's now Eichhorn and Martin, and Sam Martin sends down Eichhorn.
Well, and Sam Martin, the Flame, not the biggest skater out there, actually took on about 400 pounds of Enforcer and came up victorious.
And now he takes on Mark D'Amato, the captain of the New York Enforcers. D'Amato, 6 feet, 215 out of Brooklyn.
And he might be picking the fight with the wrong dog going after Mark D'Amato.
And here comes Bill Barker, and the elbow sends D'Amato right into the railing. Bill Barker coming through, absolutely cleaning house. But Sam Martin, smart move. He saw Fred Eichhorn coming up and cut off the jam. Let's go to the trackside, Danny Wolf.
Roller Jam fans, we saw history tonight. Janet Abraham, a whole game and not 1 minute in the penalty box. What didn't you do?
It's not what I didn't do, it's what the refs didn't see what I did.
Are you insane?
I can't see. I know how to do it without getting wet, without getting caught.
She's insane.
We are back. The New York Enforcers lead the Sundogs by 1 point. I'll tell you, Hawk, this mega match is living up to all its billing now. Mark D'Amato gives Tim Washington the whip, but Sam Martin breaks free, but he's got to be tiring, Hawk.
Well, not only that, but I want to see if Mark D'Amato gets to bring back what he coined in the second period, the Ralphie Valadares, in honor of Ralphie Valadares, the Eliminator. If you remember, he flipped Bill Barker up over his head with his skates. It was the most unbelievable thing I have ever seen.
Well, right now he's got a greeting committee in Mark D'Amato and Tim Washington. First he tried D'Amato, now Washington dropping back, number 17. Sends Martin right into the rail. Martin spins off, stays on his feet. Now D'Amato lays in wait. It's like a ping pong match between D'Amato, Washington. Sam Martin's the ball. And Sam Martin occupied with Mark D'Amato. Did not see Big Tim Washington. Amateur wrestling, a classic two-point takedown for Tim Washington.
And I don't even know if I want to even try to talk over these guys hooping and hollering for our microphones and our cameras. But you see Brian Gamble, number 19, and David Gatorboy Gleddy, number 20, going at it. Oh, wow, it's getting pretty out of control here, Ken. I know it's the fourth period, but these guys are really making it tough for our referees. But if you saw before the action went to a fist fight, you saw really good teamwork on behalf of the enforcers as our referees do finally bring things under control.
There's somebody we haven't heard much from in this game. Normally, Brian Gamble is a very active participant. There's a great takedown by Tim Washington as he bounces Martin off the track. Brian Gamble's been pretty quiet so far tonight.
Well, he kind of epitomizes that enforcer mentality of play hard and play mean. He kind of lets Tim Washington and Mark D'Amato squawk.
Great jam, great work so far by both teams as the enforcers still lead it by one. Barker now again with the whip to Sam Martin, and Martin and J.R. Widener, and Widener takes, let's check that number, Hawk. It looked like it may have been Jonathan Russell. I think it is Russell's. It is not Sam Martin, it's Jonathan Russell who comes around. Both skating low, and here comes Russell closing on the pack. Number 11, Jonathan Russell coming around, and there's Mark D'Amato back to wait for him. The elbow from D'Amato puts Russell so explosive, and Russell stays on his feet. David Gleddy got tangled in. Now he may come back and try and help his teammate. He tried to block D'Amato. D'Amato went right around him. D'Amato wearing those quad skates. Right now the agility proving very valuable. D'Amato, again, the only member of the WSL wearing the old 4 quad skates. And the agility, that's exactly why he wears them. You saw him weaving in and out of the pack.
Well, and David Gleddy, I thought, did a very poor job there. Mark D'Amato right here was occupying Jonathan Russell, and he didn't pave the way for Jonathan Russell to score the points.
We've got a barn burner. We'll be right back. It's the New York Enforcers 20, now the Florida Sundogs 19. Park, the Sundogs have closed the gap big time.
Well, if you got anything left, you got to spend it now. Leave nothing on the track. Here we go.
I'll tell you what a mega match this one has turned out to be. 1 point separating these two teams, and we are underway once again. And I'll tell you, there is no love lost right now. Dan Gavani breaking out for the Enforcers as they come around the track in the lead right now. It is Tom Smith for the Florida Sundogs. Remember, Smith out of Syracuse has got a little added incentive going up his home state team. Here comes Smith and Dan Gavani. And big block right there by Bill Barker. That's what they acquired him for. Barker sends Gavani into the railing as we're under 30 seconds. Barker again nailing Gavani. And on the other side of the coin, Tom Smith having no luck getting by Mark D'Amato. Both blockers, and D'Amato with a haymaker to the head that puts Tom Smith down, and well it should. Barker kind of looking back, not sure what took place, keeping a sharp eye on Mark D'Amato. Under 5 seconds, here comes Smith. Last chance, and no!
Well, you saw Mark D'Amato laying back in wait. I got to question what Bill Barker was doing. He was not attacking Mark D'Amato to make way for Tom Smith to score points. He didn't seem to be as aggressive as he should be. As you see, the two people we've showcased, Mark D'Amato and Bill Barker, going at each other.
I think, Hawk, it could well have been what Tom Smith was doing what Bill Barker was doing once Tom Smith got to 1 point to tie the game up right there. Barker wanting to make sure no other enforcer jammers were coming up, trying to protect that very valuable point.
Well, you saw Mark D'Amato. I think that our referee must have missed that one with the downward hit to the neck. But we're all tied up as we go in to the last minute of play.
Last minute of play, the mega match on the line. Remember, the Enforcers, two-time defending leaders of the pack. The Sundogs in their first ever mega match and giving a wonderful account. And here comes Fred Eichhorn, breaking loose, the recipient of the whip, and now coming out for the Florida Sundogs, that's Sam the Flame Martin. Eichhorn and Martin, we are tied at 20-20. 35 seconds in the mega match. It's all coming down right now. Eichhorn sets Martin into the railing, but Martin does a good job. Keeps his balance. Bill Barker black to block. Eichhorn washing it back. Barker blocking. What an upset this would be. Martin has got to get up. We could be looking at overtime here in the mega match. Barker doing a great job of keeping Eichhorn back. Tim Washington now back. And here comes, oh, right there, the screamer. Mark D'Amato puts down Barker, and back goes Fred Eichhorn, goes right by him. Absolutely unbelievable. The Enforcers win it by one. Again, 3 times now defending leaders of the pack. The New York Enforcers 21, the Florida Sundogs 20.
Well, and Bill Barker, I don't think he knows what hit him. You saw earlier he was a recipient of the newly coined Eliminator by Mark D'Amato, and Mark D'Amato finishes up with the screamer to win the game. Wow.
In fact, Danny Wolf is standing by with 2 members of the victorious New York Enforcers, Mark D'Amato and Tim Washington. Danny?
All right, the New York Enforcers successfully defend their leader of the pack crown. Mark D'Amato, Tim Washington, tremendous game again, big guy.
You know, baby, again, you got it right, you know? I gotta pay you off again one more time, but
you don't pay me anything.
Listen here. You saw the way we beat down the Sundogs right there, right? Now you don't want to beat down too, do you? All right.
Mark D'Amato, the screamer. If it wasn't the Eliminator, it was the screamer.
Absolutely. No one survives these moves. We dominate, we destroy, we defeat it, and we proved it again right here tonight. We are the leader of the pack once again, and we will hold this title to the end of the season. That is my prediction.
Well, you heard the prediction, the words of Mark D'Amato and Tim Washington. They are successful. They are still the leaders of the pack. Hey!
Danny, watch yourself down there. Mark D'Amato is capable of anything, but the final score, once again, the New York Enforcers 21, the Florida Sundogs 20, and Hawk with a 1-point win. You've got to say Mark D'Amato certainly the story of the game.
Well, whatever you want to say about Mark D'Amato, we see right here, that's the Eliminator that he promised. This guy, you may say he's violent, you may say he's a thug. Right there, Bill Barker saw the screamer firsthand. This guy gets it done, does what he says.
For all of us here at Roller Jam, Broadway, Danny Wolf, Lee the Hawk Rehrman, I'm Ken Resnick saying, so long, everybody. We'll see you next week for another Mega Match.